Okay, we're here. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to have Lisa Leake here from 100 Days of Real Food. Lisa is one of my absolute favorite bloggers and cookbook authors. And I have to just kick this off by telling you guys that if you don't already know this, I am challenged in the kitchen. Used to be, yes, used to be. But Lisa's, I came across Lisa's blog many years ago, but her two cookbooks I found and fell in love with and started cooking out of when I was in this place with itty bitty kids. I have a 6-year-old and two and a half year olds, and I was looking around at all of the like options. And Lisa, I know you kind of went through this too, like looking around at all of the options and saying, okay, there's paleo, and there's like this other way that we could be eating, and there's this other option, gluten-free, dairy-free, what's right for me? And when I discovered your way of looking at things, it just felt really simplified. And so I fell in love with Lisa's cookbooks, and I cook out of them probably 3 or 4 times a week. So I'm just so excited to have Lisa here. And yeah, I'll just let you introduce yourself, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. You're so sweet with all your kind words. I am Lisa Leake, and I blog at 100 Days of Real Food and have 2 cookbooks now. Just the original, oh, sorry, I'm just moving my computer here. Just the original 100 Days Real Food, and then 100 Days Real Food Fast and Fabulous. And it's all about cutting out processed food. So I am with you. There are so many different diets are all in your face. You don't know what to do. And so this is just basically eating the way our ancestors have eaten for centuries before us. Just none of the highly processed packaged foods, no refined grains, no refined sugars. Not that we don't have sugar on occasion, but basically my family and I decided to take a pledge for 100 days. That's how it all started. This was back in 2010. And we made up a set of rules and decided to follow them, without breaking the rules at all. And it was really eye-opening for that 100 days. Now that the pledge is over, we do sort of break the rules on occasion. But it was just so eye-opening and such an amazing learning experience. I thought I would really follow those rules for 100 days and blog about it and just go back to my regular life when it was over. Right. But clearly here I am many years later, still going strong. And we, had a lot of positive changes to our health. And we just, once we were in it, we just couldn't go back.
That's so amazing. And I've done some, different diets and things in my life, trying to find out what makes me feel the best. And I have to say, following your lead and eliminating so many processed foods and embarking on things like making our own barbecue sauce, which sounds, especially to someone like me, like that is a giant, big task.
Yeah, it's so easy. Things together, yes.
Yeah, things you already have in your kitchen. And so the whole idea for me was that it was just it seemed scary to me to think of, okay, we're going to cut out the processed stuff and we're going to embrace, maybe making a few more things on our own and buying them prepackaged, but it makes such a huge difference. Mm-hmm. And it just felt simple. And so that's why I absolutely love this so much.
I try to make it very simple. A lot of people who buy my cookbooks, they haven't cooked a lot before, or if they have, it was like a can of this and a box of that. I try to spell things out and make it as easy as possible.
Yeah. And I also love that if you are gluten-free or dairy-free or something like that, it's always noted in your cookbooks that there are options for, substituting or doing things differently. My absolute favorite thing, I have to say, from your cookbooks that we eat all the time, well, there's 2. One of them is the black bean bowls.
Oh, good. Those are so easy.
So easy and such a family favorite. And is that from Fast and Fabulous?
Fast and Fabulous. And even if, I don't know if you saw, I think I might have a note in there, you can buy that rice that's even like pre-cooked.
That's what we do.
It goes, you can pull together in just 5 minutes.
Right.
So in here.
Yep. The steamer bags all the way. Yes. That's so great. And we also love the whole wheat waffles.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm so glad.
we do that a lot where we freeze it and put it in the freezer, and then we just heat them up on school days and things like that.
That's exactly what we do as well. It's called making your own convenience food.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, one of the things when it comes to, I think, trying to cook for your family, but also trying to cook in a healthy way for your family that gets so overwhelming is meal planning. And I know you guys talked about this a little bit, but why do you think it is that meal planning becomes so hard? It's for me, when life gets really, really, really hectic, it's the first thing to go. And well, I would say about a year ago, it was the first thing to go. And I started making my routine like absolutely something that I have to do every single Sunday. I sit down with my planner and write out what we're going to have for the week and write out my grocery list and then go and pick everything up. But I know you told me that you have a pretty rigorous routine that you stick to and hold to. So tell us about it.
I do. And actually, I'm going to grab this pad of paper. So, and my routine sounds somewhat similar to yours. And you have to force yourself to stick to it. I don't love to sit down and figure out what we're going to have. I mean, even with what I do.
Right.
It's my favorite activity. I'd love to just do something fun instead. Yeah. The reason why I really am very good about sticking to it is because it makes my week so much easier. And if I would just feel like a complete mess every night, come dinner time, if I didn't force myself to sit down and do this. So I actually, and I bet you have something like this probably in one of your books or in your planners.
Yeah.
Is like a little shopping list, and it just has like the days of the week. I mean, you don't even need a fancy piece of paper, but this just helps keep me organized. So what happens is throughout the week, anytime we get low on something, and I can see my daughter in her super messy handwriting wrote peanut butter because we did run out of peanut butter yesterday. But
I can't wait till my kids are old enough to do that.
It's not a hard time deciphering what she wrote sometimes, but she will put funny things on here. So anytime we do get low on something or run out of something, we always write it down in this. We just have this one spot. It's not like sticky notes everywhere or, because I feel like that can get lost. And then I do my meal planning on Friday and I'll sit down. And like you said, I'll write out just on here what we're going to have for dinner on Friday night, Saturday. And I usually try to incorporate, like, maybe we'll go out to dinner on Saturday night. And I always have one night, usually on the Thursday, which is like the last night that I'm planning, will be like leftovers or to be determined. Because you can't always, I don't think you can plan like 7 nights of meals.
Right.
You have a little bit of flexibility in there. And then I'll usually also do, the Friday is the day we do shopping. So that might be like our seafood night. Because, you want to buy that fresh. And have like seafood once a week. Yeah. And so I'll sit there and I'll write all that out. And the other thing is that I try to do at least one recipe. And I encourage everybody who's watching to do this as well. And you also, Emily, one recipe a week that you've never made before. And
that's fun.
I think just to keep things interesting. And what my favorite thing is when my daughters pick out a recipe, because 9 times out of 10, it's something I would never pick.
Right.
And I'm okay, yeah, we can make this. And it's not maybe something you would normally make, but like it usually ends up surprising me in a good way that it's something I haven't done before. And I feel
great. And it adds it to like your toolkit of, okay, I've made this, I know how to do it.
And I think
it's so wonderful.
Yourself and just make things interesting. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk you, and you guys have to excuse me. We are all decorated for Halloween.
I love it. I'm going to put bats in my kitchen now after seeing yours.
So what I do, and I'm in my mudroom now, is after because when I write it out on that piece of paper, it's pretty like messy and I'm moving stuff around. And I always look at my calendar. I'm like, oh, Wednesday night we have like the 5th grade performance. So that needs to be like a crock pot day. And so once I like work all that out, I have this chalkboard right here. Is it backward?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
And so, and the beauty of this is, when your kids are my kids' ages, what's for dinner? What are we having? What are we doing tomorrow? I mean, I'm always like, look at the board.
I love that.
And you can see already I had a problem here where I actually had a lot of leftovers, and we had them last night. So my to be determined night, I've moved Monday to there. So I'll just make little notes on there, and it just keep me organized. So
I love that. And I love that you say too, to make one meal a week that you've never made before rather than 7, because there've been so many times I've sat down to be like, This is a week. I'm cooking. We're going to do all the things I've never done before. And then it's a giant fail.
Yeah. And plan that on a night, like maybe your Sunday night or when you don't have a lot going on. And I always, I know like Thursdays are night where like we hardly even all sit down together because of all the activities. So that's usually my leftovers where I'll double the recipe the night before. So all we have to do is reheat. So you definitely
so smart.
have to look at your calendar to figure these things out. So
yeah, that's so smart. And so tell me, so you do your grocery shopping on Friday. That's so interesting to me. So I do mine on Sundays, but Sundays tend to get a little crazy with all the things you have to do before Monday. And then it's the weekend too.
I try.
Interesting.
Yeah, and obviously like I work for myself, so I'm a little bit flexible in that sense. But you know, I really like to get it over with so I can kind of like, you know, enjoy the weekend. Because again, this is not fun for me.
Yeah, right. I know.
And honestly, I usually sit down and do the whole meal planning and the grocery list. And I should show you, I have a template for my grocery list. I usually sit down and do that on Thursday.
Yeah, I've seen your so my mom actually was telling me about your template, that it's on your blog, right?
Here's like a version of it where you in my book where it's just, I have like a produce section, and you know, I'm very like old school. I just print it out, it's in Excel, I write it all out. And I try to do it on Thursday because I feel so much better waking up on Friday knowing like I've already, because it takes me, especially because a lot of times I'm recipe testing too, it kind of takes me a long time. So I always feel like good if I get that done on Thursday and I can just go to the grocery store whenever it's convenient on Friday. And then the other thing is people with older kids, and I think even your older child, you said you have a 6-year-old, is that?
Yeah, 6-year-old Brady.
So, what I do, since I have it, is like a printed document. Sorry, I don't have one handy. The Excel spreadsheet with the grocery template. When I get to the grocery store and my girls, if they ever go with me, and obviously I'd have to do that after school, I literally tear off sections and they love this. I'm trying to think how old they were when I first started.
That's so smart.
They'll go on the next aisle. My daughters are 10 and 12. They're older now. But they'll take like the little rolling, you know, not the little baby cart, but just the small shopping cart, and I'll tear off dairy and give it to one girl, and going to the meat counter is very exciting. And
very exciting.
They love yeah, they like, I can see some of the comments, by the way.
Good.
Son is the list master. I just think this is an important life skill that they're not going to learn in school. And I love to get them involved, you know, whether it's just picking out what to make or, you know, getting a few things for me at the grocery store. They really, and I have, my husband overheard me.
Oh, that's awesome. Did he get it? Yes. So my mom was telling me about this. And I love that it's by section so that you can, when you go in your store, you don't have, your list isn't all jumbled. Like, you got to go down the list and make sure you have all the produce.
Yeah. Now this is jumbled where we run out of stuff. And then like the first thing I do is just put it in the right section on here. And then it's so I can just tear off and give the girls their sections, or even my husband if we're all together. But I mean, I'm super hardcore about like sticking to this schedule because it does make my life easier. I'll even tell you, if we go out of town for a week, I have been known to, before we leave town, to sit down, do this whole process of meal planning, make out the whole list. I bring it in my purse on our week-long vacation. So on the way home from the airport,
we can stop,
and there's 4 of us. It doesn't take long. And I'm like, here's your section. And we get home and it's like, and I have something very easy that night because I know
I love it.
Home. So I just really try to stick.
You're a girl after my own heart. My husband tends to laugh sometimes, like, you are so organized, Emily. But bringing it home from the airport and having it ready to go, I love it. That's so smart.
In advance, but I just know how great it will feel when I get home and it's all done. So
with little kids, I mean, I feel like, and even without kids, if your life is just busy, thinking 10 or 20 steps ahead of yourself and saying, okay, here's, you know, we got to make sure we stay on track and that it doesn't all unravel, and having that with you is just that's so smart.
Because the key to avoiding processed food is planning ahead. And that's really, you know, almost for every meal, you kind of have to think through, well, you know, even when you are traveling, what are we going to eat for lunch on the airplane, or what are we going to eat for dinner when we get home? You have to plan ahead. Otherwise, you'll find yourself at the drive-thru. So
I can't even tell you how many times I've woken up on a Monday morning and said, today, this is the week. We're all gonna eat no processed food, or we're gonna do Whole30, or we're gonna do whatever. And then I look in the fridge and I'm like, nope. So yes, planning ahead completely. Well, tell us also, let me see, I have a couple of questions for you. Okay, this is one my mom's visiting, and we were sitting down last night and talking, and my mom was like, I have a few questions I want to get in here. And one of them was, okay, you have a really stressful day, right? Like really, really stressful day. You've forgotten to meal plan. Let's pretend you've forgotten to meal plan. And everybody's starving. What do? Could you stay home and cook something, or is there a place you like to go out to grab something? Is there like a go-to recipe that you always have on hand?
Good question. And sometimes that'll happen where I'm so busy with work, and not really that I forgot, but that I just don't feel like making something.
I also have those days.
So I feel like one of two things might happen. So our whole family loves sushi, and I feel like not so bad. I guess it depends on what you order. So, a lot of times we'll cave and order out sushi. And I mean, my kids like sushi, so that's probably an anomaly there. Or another good, like super quick place that is actually not too far from us is Chipotle. That's inexpensive.
That's my answer.
And I don't really like the tortilla shells. I feel like those are, I'll just get like the bowl with the rice and the beans. I feel like Mexican food, you can do okay, even if like you're in the airport and you forgot to plan ahead. Yeah. Mexican food is probably the safest way.
You can kind of pick and choose. And
I would say the other thing we might do is I feel like spaghetti is very I need a salad, but if you didn't defrost the ground beef in advance, then you might be driving.
That's awesome. That's why I love your black bean bowls, because to me it's like Chipotle without leaving the house.
Yes.
Absolutely my favorite.
Yeah, you're right. If you have those types of ingredients, you could whip that together. Sometimes there are meals you could put together faster than you could drive to get something, honestly. Yeah. But,
right. Well, and with 2 toddlers and a 6-year-old, sometimes I'm like, it's easier to stay here.
Yeah, I know. But some nights, and I get like that, where you're working so hard and you're just too tired to cook on occasion.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, in my family, there's a recipe that is like tried and true. It's at every celebration. It's after every really hard day. It's what we bake if somebody has a baby or something tragic happens and we want to love on someone, and it's my mom's lasagna. Oh, yeah. It's so good. We absolutely love it.
Recipe to try.
I will for sure.
My new recipe next week.
Yeah, I love it. But do you have a recipe that you are known for that's like your signature dish?
Gosh. I feel like I should have asked my kids this before they went.
That's perfect.
I do make tacos a lot. Because and this was one of those things that I was very scared to try, and I kept putting off for weeks and weeks, but I started making my own tortillas from scratch. When we cut out processed food, that was like one of the things I wanted to try. I'd never done it before. So now that's kind of my thing I can make the tortillas pretty quickly now, like corn tortillas.
Wow. I need to try this.
Honestly, I was really scared to do it, and I put it off for a long time, but now that I've done it a lot, it doesn't take me long. And actually, my parents were just in town over the weekend, and I was trying to think, I had all this stuff planned, all these different appetizers, and went out to dinner, and Sunday night I was like, what am I going to make? And I made tacos, and I think they're special when you're making the tortillas and you're making the taco seasoning from scratch. And I think I posted a picture of it on Instagram.
You did. I was actually just thinking about it. It looks so good.
That's the first thing that comes to mind.
I was mentally writing down all the ingredients you had. Like, I think you had purple cabbage. Do you put purple cabbage on your tacos?
Yeah. I mean, either it doesn't have to be purple. It could be purple or green, but we do like something a little crunchy. And I'm always trying to make sure we get enough vegetables. So to me, I'm kind of like, okay, that's our veggie. I have a whole veggie side if I put purple cabbage on there. But we had grated cheese. I like Monterey Jack cheese. And sour cream. We like a lot of dairy here. So sour cream, avocado, cilantro, the purple cabbage. It was all very colorful.
It was.
Yeah, and it was.
Now I want tacos.
Oh, and Bernadette's asking, the corn tortilla recipe is on my blog. I also have a recipe for flour tortillas. Now, that one is a little more labor intensive because you actually get out the rolling pin and you roll out the dough. But if you have just like a tortilla press, I can do it in like 20 minutes. I can make 14 tortillas. So it's just kind of a fun way to make it special.
Yeah, I want to try that. Do you have a good salsa recipe? I'm really looking for a good salsa recipe.
You know, I don't.
Dusty is down here on my team looking at me like, I got a good salsa recipe.
We make a lot is pico de gallo, which we kind of use as salsa.
Yeah, and that's in your cookbook, right?
Yes, I was just trying to flip. It's in Fast and Fabulous with the fish taco recipe. So the key to a good salsa or pico de gallo or whatever you prefer is fresh tomatoes, like locally grown tomatoes. So have you had tomatoes that are locally grown?
I don't think I have. I think I've just had whatever I can find at the grocery store.
Okay.
Oh, we're back.
Okay, yeah, I lost you for a second. What I'm saying is, I'm about to change your life. Honestly, if you find a farmer's market, I know you're in Florida, so I'm sure there's probably even still farmer's markets going this time of year.
Yeah.
Our tomatoes are about done. But I encourage everyone to try fresh, local tomatoes. They taste nothing like the tomatoes from the grocery store.
No way.
Night and day, honestly. I didn't think I liked tomatoes until I had them from the farmer's market. And now we grow our own, and you don't even need a lot to grow your own. Your kids probably think it's really fun. You just get a pot and a tomato plant and do organic fertilizer around, Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And it's so
grown that way.
Yeah.
My dad has grown tomatoes for as long as I can remember, and they absolutely swear by them.
So good. So I really think that's the key to really good salsa.
Really good salsa. Okay. I'm a big salsa girl, so that was my question. I had to get it. And I think what you said, it's so true. We often think like, oh my goodness, going and finding locally grown tomatoes and like making my own salsa, it feels complicated when I could just buy it from a jar, but it's not. The ingredients are simpler and it might take a little bit of extra work, but I feel like it's made with so much love and you know what's in it. And I just know for our family eating this way, we also see the health benefits. Just in my kids, especially, my kids have eczema. And all kinds of things flared up, and we've seen an improvement in that, an improvement with stomach issues and just all sorts of things you wouldn't even know are maybe just coming from processed foods and not, we all blame it on lots of different things, and some of us have allergies and different things, but like it's definitely made a big difference here.
Well, I have to tell you, my youngest daughter, who's not here for me to embarrass her, she struggled with constipation. She was 3 years old when we started this. And I think a lot of kids are on medication for this. And it's a really common problem.
Yeah.
I am telling you, within 5 days, it was like a switch had flipped in her eyes.
So great.
And I really think it was like the whole grains, going to true 100% whole grain food, not even like whole grain bread from the grocery store that's still full of a bunch of additives and preservatives and things like that. I mean, it was that change in her was so dramatic that I thought, I wonder what else is going on inside that we
don't know about.
That one of the first big wake up calls where I thought, I can't go back. But I think what you said is really important, that I feel like the way we eat is honestly the way so many other people eat, but it's just using higher quality ingredients. And I've been known to work hard for my ingredients, meeting the fish guy to get like local shrimp before I'm going to make, shrimp and grits for people or something like that. Like I will work hard.
I love that. I love the love in that. Like I'm going to take the time to do this the way I want to do it, for your family. That's very cool.
Important to us.
Yeah, totally. Okay, big question. I have 2 more questions for you, and then we'll take some questions from our friends who are joining us here. But one question is, what advice do you have for someone like me a year ago who is literally standing in their kitchen thinking, why is this so hard for me to cook? I have tried lots of different recipes, and for whatever reason, the DNA passed me by in my family. Every single person in my family is an amazing chef, and I can burn water. I once made blueberry muffins with olive oil. It was a few years ago. But what advice? I feel like I've overcome the hump. Many thanks to your cookbooks because they're just achievable. I feel confident in what I'm cooking when I'm cooking out of them, and I also feel like the recipes are laid out very simply with not a zillion ingredients and not a zillion steps, and so it made it achievable for me. So do you have any advice for someone who's in that place of thinking, I just don't know where to start? Like, I'm a really bad cook and I don't know why.
You know, I have a friend from college who, it reminds me what you're saying, would just screw up anything.
Yes.
I really think one issue she was having is she didn't really truly read and follow the directions. I don't know where the olive oil came in, but I'm guessing with your muffins, that probably was a mistake. And I understand when you have kids and it's distracting, it can be hard. I really think, though, you have to like pay attention and follow the directions. But I think with anything, practice can do so much for you. Don't be afraid to try things and mess up. And it's frustrating and it happens to me too. I'll make a recipe and, you know, maybe I like forget the timer or whatever and something. And I hate throwing something out, but
I totally agree.
It's part of the process. You just don't let that scare you. And practice is so important. And now I know you had said, I think something I watched where you were talking about, like your mom's a really good cook.
Yeah,
right? But I guess you never helped her very much when you were little.
I did help her, but for whatever reason, it didn't stick. My brother, it stuck, and he is the type of person that can get in the kitchen and do a little dash of this and a little bit of that, and it's like a gourmet meal. And I'm the one calling my mom from Tampa. She lives in Pensacola, but I'll call her and be like, exactly how do you not burn the chicken if I put it in the oven? I need to know. And I'm so detailed and organized. I need to know the degree and the minute that it stays in there till, and I need to know that it's going to be perfect when I take it out. And she's like, no, you have to watch it and you have to.
And I think the way it sounds like your brother is like I don't even like to necessarily do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, sometimes I will, but I am a recipe follower.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like if I've worked it out, even, you know, when I'm developing recipes, if I've figured out this is like the best combination, I like to write it down and like do that. I don't think that is necessarily something that everyone needs to work towards, just kind of winging it. I think it's perfectly fine to just follow recipes. And like I said, you know, once a week, if you are trying something new, then that will give you the practice. I just really think you need practice. And for everyone watching who has children, I think it'd be great to get them in I didn't help my parents in the kitchen when I was little either that much. So I think if we can all sort of make a shift and get our kids in, it's such a confidence builder when they do make something and it does for all of us.
I totally agree. And I can't tell you how many recipes my kids have helped me make with you. And, you know, I think, from you, I think one of the things too that's helped me a lot is, like you said, reading the recipe from start to finish. It seems so common sense, but I would get in a hurry and I would look at the ingredient list and make sure I had most of it. Because some of it you just always have, and then some of it you have to go to the grocery store for, but I wouldn't read the instructions, and so I would miss something. And by the time I got to the bottom of the recipe and it was 3/4 of the way done, I realized I've forgotten an ingredient or not put enough of something in or something like that. So just reading it from start to finish, and then pulling all my ingredients out at the same time so that they're all like sitting there waiting for me on the kitchen counter, rather than me having to walk around the kitchen all the time trying to find it. Again, seems so elementary, but it helped me so much.
And like the recipe that you mentioned where you forgot something in the end, make that recipe again. And everything is always easier, you know, the second or third time. So then again, that's like kind of your practice. And then I feel like there's a lot of recipes where, you know, if you're making a sauce, they might start in a similar way. And you can say, oh, this is like, you know, the butter and the flour to start and thicken the sauce, just like I did in that other recipe. So I just feel like making a lot of different recipes, you'll start to see similarities and you'll just be more experienced. But somebody had just commented, writing notes, you know, don't be afraid to write in your cookbook.
Yes, I write in your cookbooks.
Don't forget this, or, you know, put more of that.
Or I put like, we absolutely loved this recipe and this is a family favorite, and, you know, things like that. Yeah. Oh, I totally agree with that. That's good advice.
Yeah. But I just think practice, you know, and I hate to say it because that takes time, and it's not going to happen overnight, obviously. But don't be scared of failing in the kitchen. Don't let that keep you away.
It's totally true. That's so great. One more question for you, and this one is from my mom. She would like to know if there is a kitchen gadget that you cannot live without. Like if you had one kitchen gadget that you could never put away or get rid of, what would it be?
Oh, I know what it is.
I just bought a food processor and I've never used it. My mom swears I'm gonna love it. I know, I'm getting eyes in my office.
Yeah.
Oh, kitchen shears.
I'm more basic. Yes, I do use my food processor a lot, but I am going more basic. This is like one of my favorite tools, just simple, inexpensive tools. I use it for we have 4 pairs.
Yeah.
I use it for so many things. You can use it for cutting herbs, or even if like I'm going to make a little salad to go in a school lunch, and you don't want to get out a cutting board. Yeah, you just chop, chop, chop. And even like let's say I'm cooking chicken in the pan and it's hot chicken in the pan and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have cut that up smaller. I just stick it right in the pan. I use these all the time. So just like off the top of my head, that's what I thought.
No, that's so great. And I actually, like when we eat pizza, I hate our pizza cutter can like cut an arm off. And so I'm always scared to use it, but we use our kitchen shears and we'll just cut, like for our toddlers, we'll cut the pizza up. And
absolutely. I use these for so many different things. So I really do. That's
awesome.
Expensive. I do like my food processor too. I use that more than like a mixer. I used to use like a KitchenAid mixer. I used to use that a lot before I cut out processed food, and I'd be making cookies and cakes a lot. I don't do that as often now, so I'm using food processor more for a big
But mom opened my cabinet last night and she was like, this thing still has a wrapper on it. You use this yet? And I was like, no, I'm getting up the nerve to make salsa.
Everyone does that. That was tortillas. I had to think about it for a long time before I actually did it. But then once you get over that hump, and I will say my slow cooker is another favorite.
Me too.
I tried the Instant Pot. Have you done that yet?
I have. I'm still afraid I'm going to blow my house up.
Yeah, I'm not into it, honestly.
Yeah.
Not for everyone. The people who love it really, really, really love it. And I don't want to like talk bad about it in front of them. But it's just, I'm a slow cooker girl. And that's
me too. I like being able to throw things in. Your whole chicken recipe. We do that all the time in the slow cooker, and I know it by heart now, which is probably one of the only recipes I know by heart.
Good. Yeah, here it is. The best whole chicken. And I even do this sometimes just with like drumsticks, and I always make I actually just had stock this morning that I was putting in jars from that. You can make your own stock with like the bones you would have thrown.
Yes. That's my next time I make it, I'm gonna make chicken stock.
Good. You won't believe how much better it is than the store-bought stuff.
That's what everybody says.
So much.
That's awesome. Well, this is so fun. And I have my 2 friends here in the office with me who are gathering questions from everyone watching. Do you guys want to throw some at us? Hannah?
What are some tips for cooking for one person?
Okay, so Lisa, we have someone that wants to know, what are some tips for cooking for one person?
Well, you can actually freeze a great deal of food. So I think, if you have a recipe and then you freeze half of it. And I have to show you guys, I'm going to take you in my bedroom again.
I love it.
Because this is like what I do a lot for school lunches. I'm not a big like freezer cooking person.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
I do for school lunches. My freezer's kind of got a lot going on right now, but you can see right here, I freeze things in individual portions. So this is like
so smart
for one person. So, and this is all that like chicken broth that I was telling you about. This is like look, this is from this morning because it's not frozen yet. This is like a cup and a half of chicken broth. So I have all different homemade soups. Beautifully. I have tomato bisque, vegetarian chili, white chicken chili. My daughters love that.
That is so smart. And you just store them in mason jars with little labels on top?
So the key is you want a jar without shoulders. And then this is like this little sort of bar right below the lid is the freeze line. And they will say freezer safe. So this is like we do for school lunches, we do soups on Wednesday. I'm very routined.
Yeah. No, I love it.
It's kind of my break in the week where I don't have to like think about it. But anyway, I think for a single person by themselves, freeze things in individual portions. So it's not like you have to get out this whole big thing of, soup or stew or whatever it is. You can get enough for you.
That is so great. And by the way, freezer goals.
Michael Pollan, he was the one who inspired us to cut out his food. And one of his, that was advice from him, not directly, just from his book. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he said, if you have the space, get a freezer, because like I said at the beginning of our chat, making your own convenience food so you can pull that out and defrost it and eat it rather than, wanting to go grab something from the drive-thru.
I'm trying to convince the husband that we need a freezer.
It's also good if you find, like locally sourced meats that are raised. A lot of times those are sold frozen, so you can stock up when you find something good. And those like waffles and things you were talking about freezing, I've got all that in there, and good bread. So many things can be frozen. Cheese can be frozen. I mean, you can just really stock up. So.
Totally. And I think in one of your books, you have some resource tables about how long things stay frozen and all sorts of things like that.
That's in Fast and Fabulous. Yes.
Yeah, that's so great. And my mom does the same thing with, when we were growing up, she would buy locally sourced meats, and she would freeze them, and we would have a freezer full. So that it was just ready and convenient. And it was also a money saver, I think, to buy so much at one time and save it there.
Mom was way ahead of her time.
Oh, I tell you what, Nana is, so we're doing these Facebook Lives leading up to release date for A Simplified Life, my new book, on November 21st. And I finally convinced Nana, my mom, to do the very last Facebook Live with us.
Oh, that's so
good. So she's going to be sharing all of her wisdom.
Good.
That's wonderful. They'll tell us something I completely forgot to talk to you about was school lunches. So school lunches are, I am in like serious routine with school lunches, and I've loved, I bought your school lunch ebooks this year. Good. And loved them, and make a lot of things on Sunday when I'm doing I call it Sunday prep. And I'm doing all of my like chopping and getting things ready for the week so that I'm not just sending bags of chips and sandwiches every day.
Yes, and actually there's the lunches in the both my cookbooks. I have them. I showed them how they're packed and everything. Believe it or not, I don't like packing school lunches. Up there with meal planning, not my favorite thing, but it has to be done. And I usually just do it like the day before, the night before. It's an amazing week if I can have like 3 done at once, but that hardly ever happens. So I think having things on hand in your freezer that you can pull from helps so much. So we I've been freezing soups for years, but now this year I started freezing sandwiches too.
That's cool.
Because think about it, you can freeze bread, you can freeze cheese, you can freeze meat. We actually, at our farmer's market, they roast peppers for you this time of year.
No way.
I had a bunch of bell peppers roasted, and I made pesto and cheese, and then we even like grilled them like grilled paninis. And then I froze them, and I think it was like we got home from out of town really late one Sunday night, and I was so happy to have those frozen sandwiches in the freezer.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Made it, if you have a few things, whether it's frozen muffins or, you can
freeze muffins a lot here.
You can make like sandwiches out of waffles. You can do like waffles, and I even make the sandwiches while the bread and stuff's still frozen. Yeah. Because it will defrost, by the next day. But I'll get out frozen waffles and just put like cream cheese, maybe a little cinnamon and raisins, make a little sandwich.
Fun.
I think having just like a few things that you can pull from then the rest you could cut up an apple. My lunches are never complicated.
No,
I think
I love that.
Dinner leftovers are great. With the tacos we were talking about, I sent a taco salad to school the next day for my daughters with a pumpkin muffin I had previously made and like an orange. I just like to just pull from what I have. So it's good to have some things on hand.
Really? Do you think your girls are more adventurous eaters because of the way that you guys eat, or were they always adventurous eaters?
They were not always. And so I'll tell you, they are great eaters now. My oldest daughter, I think she was born liking vegetables even more than I do.
My oldest is the same way, and my twins are not the same way.
And my youngest, before we cut out processed food, the only vegetable she would eat was frozen peas. That was it.
way.
Now she will eat, spinach salad. She's like the sushi lover I was mentioning. And I'll tell you what the difference is. Before we cut out processed food, I remember my parents were babysitting when I went out of town. I had to type up a list that I found not too long ago of the 12 foods she would eat.
I've been there.
Limited. But when we cut out processed food, the thing that changed is I started trying a lot harder converting a picky eater takes many months, even years, and talk about that patience with, some things aren't going to work and it's disappointing. Right. But it is so worth it in the end. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, French Kids Eat Everything.
Yes. Someone was just telling me about this.
Yeah, it's actually to and she talks about how the French think of it like potty training. You're going to keep working on that until it's done, right? You're not just like, and trust me, some kids, we've actually been babysitting our neighbor's 2-year-old who is very, very particular. She'll say, I don't like it without trying. And so it's been kind of interesting to be exposed again to like a super picky toddler. Right. And you have to keep trying over and over. You're hungry when they get to the table. But I started trying so much harder. And now my daughter, they're both excellent eaters.
That's so wonderful.
A lot easier.
Yeah, I found the same thing with my oldest was literally born asking for broccoli. He will eat anything. He'll eat things I won't eat. But like oysters, I can't do oysters. My oldest loves it. We went through a period where they wanted everything with ketchup, and then a period where all they wanted was frozen waffles. So in came the whole wheat waffles from your cookbook. Banana waffles. Yeah.
That's a great tip to just replace, with higher quality ingredients, food they love. Still make the spaghetti, but do it with whole wheat noodles, even half whole wheat noodles and half white noodles. Slowly change over the things they love is a great place to start.
Totally. Good advice. Okay, Hannah, you got more?
Yeah. Can you say the name of your cookbooks again?
Yes. Lisa, can you tell us the names of your cookbooks one more time?
And this is like my ratty copy here.
I love it!
I use it all the time myself. So it's 100 Days of Real Food. So this is the first cookbook that came out in 2014. And then this is 100 Days of Real Food, Fast and Fabulous. So all these recipes are super quick and easy.
So good.
Stuff. And this one came out actually a year ago this month. So last year.
I've been cooking my way through that cookbook, like going to do every single recipe. And we found so many good ones. I'll have to post a list. I have a list on the side of my refrigerator with all of the recipes that are like go-tos for us.
I love that. See, I love to hear stuff like that because how many have cookbooks where you only make like one or two things from the cookbook? Love to hear about I love it.
All right, what next?
And then somebody asked about the cookbooks. Is it better to start with one before the other?
Okay.
Or if they have 2 little kids, should they do like the fast one?
Is it better to start with one of your cookbooks versus the other, or dive right in?
Well, so they both have 100 recipes, and they're different recipes. I will say the front matter is different in the sense that the first book, it's like a deep dive explaining why you're going to cut out processed food, how to cut out processed food, why whole grains versus, white bread. And then in Fast and Fabulous, it's more like the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
I made all these little charts of like, look for the label to say this, not necessarily the why behind it. That's more like in the first book. So that's but it's 100 different recipes. So, how many we want in your collection.
Right. I was going to say the same thing. The first one, I loved reading the beginning, the front matter about why you guys made the decisions you made. And it really just made me feel convicted that this was a good option for us and like thing to try. So I would highly recommend the first one, but then I would highly recommend the second one too, because I love that it's quick and easy and it's so good.
Yeah, the first one's going to have like those made from scratch tortillas and some things like that. But the second one is just none of that labor intensive stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so you know what? I see a question from Tiffany. What if you don't like whole grain bread? I just want to like answer that really quick.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, I did not like whole grain bread. Before I cut out processed food, I had never been to a farmer's market. I had never read an ingredient label in my life. I had never purchased a single thing organic, at least not on purpose. And I had never eaten a full piece of whole wheat bread because I hated it. I thought it tasted disgusting. I was very much a white bread girl. So the thing there is that I was eating not high quality whole grain bread. I was buying it from the grocery store for my husband. I bought white bread for myself and whole wheat bread for him, although it was still full of all those additives. It doesn't taste good. So I actually found a bakery where they make, it's called Great Harvest, and they're a franchise. They have locations all over the place.
Yeah.
And they make fresh, they actually grind their wheat fresh every morning, and they make fresh whole wheat bread with only 5 ingredients, what should be in bread, and it tastes so much better. So that was like a big hump that I had to get over. And I actually have some tips on the blog for how to again, mix white rice and brown rice to try to help with like the transition.
Yeah, the transition. Yeah, in my house, I could eat perfectly healthy all the time. And my husband is like, can I just have chicken wings and pizza? And like, what is wheat bread? That's what he says to me.
I have a baked chicken wing recipe.
Yes.
Whole wheat pizza dough from scratch. So.
And that's what I've kind of done. So I always say my husband's my pickiest eater, and love him for it, but he's a little more difficult than the little ones are. So I just kind of sneak things in there, and he doesn't know. And then after he's like, this is the best meal I've ever had, I'll just let him know, like, that was whole wheat bread.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think that's important for kids too. I'm not a big fan of like sneaking stuff in. If you do it, just at least tell them about it afterwards, so they know.
So they know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Totally agree. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so this person works until like 7:30 at night.
Okay, so somebody that works until 7:30 at night.
Do they have any advice for getting inspired to like make dinners?
Any advice for getting inspired to make dinners late at night?
Well, I mean, that goes back to like you're planning ahead. If you know you're getting home at 7:30 and you're tired, it's going to be worth it to have that crock pot going in the morning. And you can even like get your crock pot everything all assembled in there the night before. So you just in the morning put it out, and start it. So I really think maybe back to making your own convenience food. Maybe making some extra meals on Sunday and freezing some components. So you make the big whole chicken,
right?
Freeze some of it or save it in the fridge. Have some of those like ready-made ingredients where it's easy to throw together. That just goes back to knowing that's your schedule, and you've got to plan ahead and make it super easy.
I totally agree. And, for us, our days with little bitty ones and having kids in soccer and kids in ballet and kids in all the things, it's like, those days happen where like everything kind of falls apart at the end, and you're scrounging and looking for something that you can eat that's healthy and not gonna take 6 hours to make. And I think we also like have to give ourselves the grace that peanut butter and jelly is a really good option sometimes.
Yeah. You can really quickly boil some pasta and throw something together like that. Absolutely. Just kind of like that's that whole process of sitting down and planning your meals that we were talking about, where you look at your calendar and I've got to have something so easy, or just leftovers I heat up on this night, or the soup out of the freezer, whatever it is. So it's
ready to go.
Yeah. I
love that. And I also think too, having a list where you keep it on your refrigerator and your planner or wherever of your absolute favorite go-to meals. This is something I live and die by. We have like 12 meals. I think 11 of them are from your cookbooks, and they're all on our refrigerator. And I have like what cookbook it's from and where the recipe, because I know very few recipes in my head. The slow cooker chicken I do know, but I have all of that up there. And then I can just go to it when I'm making my meal plan and say, I'm going to pull 1 or 2 from this. And like you said, try something new and plan to have a couple of leftover nights or a couple of takeout nights. And
I love that. When you cook as much as we do,
Totally. I totally agree. Totally. Oh, well, this is so fun. Let's take one more question before we wrap it up.
Do you have any advice for eating whole on a budget?
Okay, so any advice for eating whole foods or unprocessed foods on a budget?
Yes, I do. There's a lot of really cheap filling whole foods like beans and rice and bananas. And I think kind of you have to be a little more creative. You can absolutely eat real food on a budget. It's not about what you're in the mood. We actually did a pledge on a budget where we had $125 a week for the 4 of us.
Yeah.
And it was like, I might be in the mood for pesto and goat cheese, but I'm not eating that. So it's like what you can afford. And I really think getting those like really inexpensive cuts of meat that you can make taste really good in the slow cooker. I keep talking about the slow cooker, but also not eating meat at every meal. There's a lot of,
that's a big one.
a lot of foods that are like a nice to have, not a need to have, like flavored beverages. Think how much money you might spend on, I know a lot of people, they're maybe off of soda and they're drinking LaCroix. You still have to buy that, right?
Yeah, totally.
I think having meat is a sometimes food, dessert is a sometimes food, those flavored beverages, maybe making it, yourself instead, those can all save money.
Yeah, that's great advice. And you guys, Lisa has so many tips on her blog. I highly encourage you to check it out. And we'll put the links to both of Lisa's cookbooks here in the caption when this is all over.
And congrats to you on your new book.
Thank you. I'm so excited. My mom actually has it, or I'd have it right here. I'm so excited. It comes out November 21st. And you highly influenced me in the kitchen. So I'm just so grateful that you were able to join us and do this.
Good. I'm so glad. Yeah. Thank you for including me. And
absolutely.
I can't wait to get your book too and look through it because I like, again, like we were talking about, just being organized. I feel like saves you time in the end. So I'll get some tips.
I think so many of us feel like we're living lives with our hair on fire, and any way that we can simplify and just make every day a little bit easier, like planning ahead in the kitchen, it makes us better for ourselves and better for everyone else too.
Yeah. So, I totally agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us. This has been so much fun. And we're going to be back on here next week with Courtney Whitmore. It's Wednesday. We're going to talk about simplifying the holidays. So it's a big one. Thanks, Lisa. Bye, everybody.
Bye.